Everyone's here tonight because we've had an event in honour of Ruth's memory. Ruth was the last woman to be hanged in Britain in 1955, and the team have been trying to get a conditional pardon for Ruth Ellis. We've just had a brilliant panel session, and I think hearing from Ruth's granddaughter has really brought home just how relevant Ruth's case is and why it's still so important.
I think I feel very moved to hear so many people speak so passionately about Ruth Ellis's case, and to hear it within the contemporary context of how it could never happen today, and even then in 1955 shouldn't have been carried out the way that it was. A pardon for her would send a vital message to the public now.
In 1955, the only relevant defence available to Ruth was the defence of provocation. That's different now. Recognise particularly things like the impact on women of intimate partner violence. The first relevant development happened pretty quickly after Ruth's execution. So in the Homicide Act 1957, the defence of diminished responsibility was introduced. And we also know with social developments and medical developments that the impact of long-term domestic abuse on people does often culminate in what is a recognised medical condition. It's sometimes slightly archaically called battered women's syndrome. That's something that would today be taken into account if someone in Ruth's situation were brought before the courts on a charge of murder.
It is about politics and not about justice. And if you look at the context of Ruth's case, and one thing that hasn't been mentioned was the death penalty was mandatory at that time. And in 1955 in Britain, it was the only sentence that the judge could impose. So ultimately, it was the Home Secretary who was the sentencer. There was no sentencing in the trial court. We know that between 1900 and 1955, 148 women were sentenced to death in the United Kingdom. 15 were executed, including Ruth. So the question is, why those 15? It's arbitrary, it's random, and unfortunately this plays out throughout the Commonwealth, because Commonwealth countries inherited the British death penalty with all its disproportionality and cruelty. And in many countries that still exists and has been perpetuated today. And that is one of the reasons why we argue so strongly that it should be abolished and abolished forever.
This case has just cast a long shadow over our family for decades, and the ripple effects are still being felt today, and the fact that Mishcon have come to help and seek out this conditional pardon is huge. Ultimately, we want to create some closure and peace on this case, and fingers crossed we get the result that we're looking for.